Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Coming back to you with another reaction video, man. Why did I sound like that? Yeah, we reacting to Bobby Lim's. Why do hip hop hate Lil Yachty? Why hip hop hates Lil Yachty? I don't know. I personally, I love Lil Yachty, bro. He's a goat.
Emerges one of the leading rappers in a rather unorthodox generation of SoundCloud rappers whose claim to fame was completely opposite of practically everything traditional hip-hop held dear, but that the new fans loved. The new music Lil Yachty, Uzi, Trippie Redd, X, and more brought to the internet is refreshing. A break from super technical lyrics and flows, as it more focused on the feeling of the music rather than just bars, the foundation of the genre. Some would say this was a step in the right direction, bringing fun back into music. Others would disagree, and potentially for a good reason, because there has definitely been a lot of
a colorful nigga. Like, he can match any color. Like, he's not like every other rapper that sticks with like one color. This nigga puts like, he matches the rainbow, bro. Like he's a fashion model for Skittles niggas. Like niggas that just like different colors on their stuff. Me personally,
trash music released in the past decade, since anyone with an internet connection and microphone can release music for millions to hear. A lot of great music too, though, don't get me wrong, even some of my favorite thus far. But with the new OGs of rap like Lil Yachty and the other rappers already mentioned now being the main inspiration for upcoming rappers that will soon be in control of the
Uzi's vampire teeth are so hard, bro. Story. Bro, my friends told me if I ever got some vampire teeth, they're gonna stop being my friends. So L friends, nigga.
The genre. Perhaps we need a change for hip hop to swing back to its roots. Lil Yachty, for one, has made it abundantly clear that even he doesn't like the direction rap is heading. But isn't he one of the rappers to blame, since he played a part in the current state of music? Or were his latest projects proof that he's trying to move the genre forward? Regardless of how you feel, he certainly turned the entire industry against him by speaking up.
Hell nah.
Something just wasn't right.
That nigga been making big moves with his rap.
8 years old. People don't know what happened in that house.
Oh, damn. Rest in peace.
Yachty has never been shy in sharing his thoughts on any given topic, and because of this, his criticisms of hip-hop recently is definitely not the first time he has faced public scrutiny, such as Yachty mistakenly calling Biggie Smalls overrated in an interview, to arguing with Joe Budden over if the record contract he signed was a 360 deal or not. Not to mention the very same argument discussing if his career would even last 5 years, which we already discussed in detail in a recent video. Although, in all these past cases, earlier on in his career, Yachty responded rather apologetically, seeking to learn or understand the opposite side's perspective on the matter. However, in this recent conversation of hip-hop falling off, he's already doubled down a few times. More specifically, Yachty has taken aim at the lack of risk-taking and originality in hip-hop nowadays, stating that the entire genre is in a, quote, terrible place.
Facts.
No, okay, let's just...
Facts. Hip-hop is not the same because niggas are stealing each other's flows and they can't be original, bro. I mean, hip-hop used to be original back then. Like, niggas had their own flows, their own cadences. And it's like, where is it now? No, it's like, now it's like, oh yeah, rage beats is popping, let's hop on a rage beat now, see. Or no, jazz beats is popping, the new jazz beats, that shit popping, let's do this because that person doing that, he's making it, so let's try our own shit though.
Spell this.
Man, no, hold on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The place that hip hop is in right now is a terrible place. What are we talking about?
But you're looking at it glass half empty.
No. I mean, hip hop is hip hop. But you asked me where is hip hop right now? And the state of hip hop right now is a lot of imitation. It's a lot of quick, low quality music being put out. It's a lot less risk taking. It's a lot less originality. No, everyone's so safe. You know, I'd rather take the risk and take the L.
Which I believe many fans can actually relate to and agree with, given that the past few generations of rappers' mantra as SoundCloud rappers was exactly that. Record a short, rough mix on a...
What if you take the risk and take the L? Because it didn't go as planned.
Hard trap beat with a funny or meme twist and drop it instantly on SoundCloud the next day.
That's Broke Boy cover.
In a way, that was why it was so great. Because there was no time to buff out the imperfections or overcomplicate verses, choruses, and production. All that remained was the raw version of the artist's creation. Unlike today, where hip-hop as a genre has arguably become more pop, in the sense that it has become so popular, it has had to adapt to become more formulaic in order to guarantee success to the mainstream audience that it caters to now. But with wider appeal comes less experimentation and originality, just like Yachty said. And his statements are actually backed by data. But before we get into all that, we have to check out our sponsor, Aura, the best identity theft protection service of 2023. As recognized by with a fair identity from Surrey, your phone somebody just bought, all the while providing identity. In the link in the description is dominated compared to other dominated the charts in streams, radio, and overall listenership when compared to other major genres such as country, Latin, EDM, etc. However, in recent years, starting in 2022, hip-hop has actually felt a sharp decline in market share to all the genres we just mentioned. Therefore, perhaps Yachty's statements actually had some merit and could be proven statistically.
It wasn't good
I feel like
until
y'all feel this way.
loss.
Support it then. How we dropped to number 4? You know what I'm saying? Or 5, whatever genre we are. We dropped. We ain't top 3. Hip-hop is not top 3. You know what I'm saying? It's a strong decline. And it's not to say that it won't get back, it won't get better. It's just the state of it right now.
Additionally, Yachty stated on a recent episode of his podcast that the culture around the rap genre has changed. Chasing the best first week sales statistics has become the nature of the sport of hip-hop. The criteria to judge the music's success is a competition and not an art, as Yachty says. Whereas in other genres like alternative or indie rock, the music or success of particular albums isn't judged by the hype around its first week sales. It grows over time and builds steadily in correlation to the quality of music. As a result, the music is longer lasting and more impactful, unlike hip-hop nowadays that is frequently compared to fast food, 1 or 2 listens and on to the next album.
Hip-hop is the only category where we do these huge numbers. Like even 30, 40,000, that's so big. In the general standpoint of people who release music, we're the only category, and then like big pop stars who do these first week numbers. Everyone else, you grow. Rock bands, all these indie rock alternative artists, they're not doing these huge numbers first week. But then again, our albums are the most short-lived. You know, like I feel like we have
everything's a competition too. So
competition, right? It's not even art; it's competition.
Yeah. The albums are not.
I'm not dropping my album to beat your album. I'm dropping my album because it's what I make.
Like Drake albums, bro. Like I remember 2018, bro. That's Scorpion, but that album was played like. Not even an album, but the songs off the album, bro. Like God's Plan, bro, that lasted a whole good 6 months. It lasted for months, bro. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song, bro.
But everyone makes it a competition.
Lil Uzi Vert's, bro. His album was like Love Is Rage 3, bro. That's a timeless album, bro. I mean, not Love Is Rage 3, Love Is Rage 2, bro. And the first Love Is Rage, bro. That's a timeless album. You still hear that song is still charting, bro. That song is still charting. To the day, it's like top. I don't know what it is, but it's top something on the charts, but it's like top 100.
That's what's wrong with our culture.
Obviously, given all of Yachty's harsh statements throughout the months, he faced overwhelming backlash from rap fans, since of course, he is a rapper, falling into a situation where he may actually be correct.
If you made it this far, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends, bro. You feel me? We slowly growing. Let's try to get to I'm trying to reach 1,000 this year, bro. But let's try to reach 500. The goal is 500 subs, but if we can, let's get, you know what I'm saying? Let's just reach for the top. Fuck all that.
Correct in his message, but not necessarily the right person to communicate it. Because if he is in position to improve the genre, then why isn't he already doing something about it? And worse yet, why was he arguably one of the leaders of the so-called downfall of rap that he speaks of, yet pointing fingers elsewhere? Especially with his deep catalog of meme-worthy and outlandish musical choices early in his career that influenced future generations. For as we already briefly discussed, Lil Yachty rose to fame alongside a class of artists like no other that emerged solely from the internet. And while music was how these artists eventually transitioned,
Lil Pump was just he popped out, man, that nigga was just a week of fame, bro. He fell off so fast.
Transitioned into superstardom, many of them didn't take it that seriously.
I'm not a rapper.
So people who love bars and like are so about this hip hop thing are so mad, right? And the reason they so mad is because they think that the young kids don't take this hip hop thing serious.
I honestly don't.
He honestly doesn't.
And he doesn't.
It's called having fun.
I'm sorry.
You're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
That's it, and getting money. That's it. It's
Yeah.
all money, getting
Yeah,
and fun.
we're just chilling.
Nor were many of them truly musicians or have any experience. But that was the whole point. The artists acted as characters first and foremost, not necessarily as artists, on the newly popularized social medias and blogs to garner attention, then bait and switch all the views to their music to monetize. It's genius if you think about it. That is, if you're able to pull off going viral consistently, such as the likes of Lil Pump, Smoke Perp, Ugly God, XXXTentacion, and of course, Lil Yachty, among the other countless rappers from this era. But that's not to say that Lil Yachty wasn't musically talented though. He definitely carved out his own original sound and aesthetic when compared to his peers, at least from my perspective. However, from a bird's eye view, the hip-hop fans and other rappers Yachty was criticizing earlier could argue the opposite, that actually he was yet another unoriginal suburban rapper with colored hair, an eccentric personality that didn't care about the traditions of the genre, and used such outrageously heavy autotune to carry his vocal melodies and his music that no one thought they'd be taken seriously as a musician if they kept the settings that high. Twitter users chimed in on the replies of Yachty's claims published by outlets, with memes and agreement that he was contradicting himself completely by speaking out on the issues of hip-hop that he himself potentially created. Because after all, although 2016 through 2018 was a legendary period of rap, since the internet finally allowed fans to discover new artists organically rather than record labels paying off rates, after
Why is my computer acting like this? I'm trying to read the LOML nigga said. Hip hop, meme rappers with zero lyrical ability making a mockery of the genre to white audiences for financial gain. Who killed hip hop? Looking at.
After all, although 2016 through 2018 was a legendary period of rap, since the internet finally allowed fans to discover new artists organically rather than record labels paying off radio stations, the time period is also remembered to consist of a lot of fast food music, merely created in order to capitalize off viral antics on Instagram. And while Yachty was far from the worst in this measure, his lyrics at the time definitely lacked the substance he tells us is the problem in hip-hop nowadays.
I know you want this for life, taking pictures with all my eyes. I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama. All of these bitches, they know me. All of these bitches, they own me. That bitch, she smile like emoji.
Bro,
So,
what's wrong with
in
lyrics?
multiple ways, Lil Yachty has already contradicted himself.
The time that we were in, bro, it was simplistic. It was simplistic, and it was cool to be simple and not all flashy, bro. Like, that's what we wanted. We didn't want some try-hard lyricism, bro, like J. Cole and Kendrick, bro. We wanted some simplicity.
Essentially preaching to his younger self, whose music incorporated the very things he claims is destroying hip-hop, releasing quick, low-quality music that fans grew tired of in a matter of years or even months. But I do have to give credit where it's due. Yachty was undoubtedly a pioneer for the SoundCloud rapper image that many now believe to be unoriginal.
Arcade.
Output Arcade.
Arcade by Output is hands down the best plugin
They
to
keep giving me his ass, bro. I don't give a fuck.
His red braids and loud, colorful clothing acted as one of the blueprints, in addition to Lil Uzi Vert, Trippie Redd, and others to copy and exaggerate until it became corny. And no one dared to use as heavy auto-tune in their songs as Yachty, supporting his argument about originality and risk-taking in music. So perhaps he had a point after all. For proving himself in the music industry is nothing new to Yachty. Throughout his entire career, he's been fighting against more traditionalist hip-hop outlets that claim he and his counterparts in the SoundCloud generation are bad for the genre and its future.
They try to play like he couldn't spit, bro. They try to play like he couldn't spit, bro. They call Cardi the king of mumble rap. But, bro, that's just a start, bro. He just wanted to get his platform. He just needed his... He knew what he wanted to do. Like, Vamp Cardi was always Cardi, bro. That's the thing. Y'all just don't know that. He already knew what he wanted to do. He just needed something to start it off with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to start off just playing around, making fun music. But then I'm going to get into the actual real music that I want to make. You feel me? Since I have the money to do that and the technology to do that now, You feel me?
Future. On Complex's Everyday Struggle talk show, Joe Budden reflected on this conversation with Yachty when he featured as a guest interview, retracting his title as a rapper and more harshly stating that Yachty was single-handedly ruining the culture.
I don't think that Yachty is hip-hop. I don't think that Yachty's label is hip-hop. And when you're not hip-hop and you're trying to just troll or exploit, you get things like this. We're talking about Lil Yachty, someone who I think is ruining the culture, someone who should not be accepted in this fucking culture.
And because of this, along with similar confrontations with other interviewers and public backlash, Yachty likely gained a chip on his shoulder. After all, with his career still standing strong to this day, 5+ years later, he exceeded all of their expectations and broke down the barriers they said he couldn't pass, such as freestyling and a higher emphasis on the bars within his music. And so, it makes sense that given how he was treated by the critics early in his career, that he feels his opinion holds some weight. And he most definitely doubled down, regardless of the mean tweets about him. For instance, he replied to the hate and took it one step further. To y'all that really understand music, I'm probably a top 10 rapper, making me imagine what other genres I could be top 10 in. And to many of his fans, he may be right in saying such an egregiously confident statement, since of course music is subjective. But once again, avid hip-hop listeners called Yachty out for his alleged blatant contradictions, because more recently, Lil Yachty previewed and actually released at this point already a new track titled Gimme the Light, featuring more lighthearted and fun but meaningless lyrics, aka no substance, soon after his original complaints about hip-hop. He responds to the naysayers in his latest podcast episode.
And then people's like, oh, but isn't he the one that said that hip-hop is in a terrible place, or that I think I said everything sounds the same or some shit like that, whatever. And people's like, oh, here's the guy that said that. He was like the guy that made Poland, because how can you say that you made Poland? But it's like, bro, you've never heard a rap song like Poland, bro. Like, there's no song that sounds like Poland, ever. When Poland first came out, it was like, what the f is this?
And to be fair, Yachty definitely has a point. The initial reaction to his 2022 hit song Poland was utter confusion due to the pseudo vibrato vocals he utilized in his chorus. Not to mention, the song not even being officially released by Yachty or his label, rather it was a leak that organically went viral on Twitter and TikTok, and in turn forced his hand into releasing it officially anyway with a Lyrical Lemonade music video a couple weeks later. All because of how unique it was. And similarly, Gimme the Light, using the very same style of vocals on Poland, now established as one of Yachty's signature sounds, and is undoubtedly original, thus cannot be considered contradictory to Yachty's statements about hip-hop. Earlier this year, Yachty addressed this contradiction of fitting into the label of being a SoundCloud and or mumble rapper at the beginning of his career rather than being completely original in his written interview with Billboard. I came into music in a time where rap was real hardcore. It was real street. And a bunch of us...
Sir, there's no easy way to say this. Your wife isn't who she says she is.
I'm sorry?
She's your wife.
But also,
Those kids came in with colorful hair and dressing different and basically said, move out the way, old. We on some other I was young and didn't really give a So I did do things that may have led to the assumptions that I was a mumble rapper or a SoundCloud kid, or I don't appreciate the history of hip hop. But to be honest, I've always been so much more than just hip hop. So at least Yachty is willing to accept other people's perspectives regarding how this warning message for hip hop sounds coming from him, given his SoundCloud rapper beginnings. And even though he believed himself to be much more than just a rapper. But that also opens up an entirely new can of worms by saying that. Because if there's one thing rap fans do not like, it's a rapper, or at least an artist that exploits the rap community and sound, and then avoids that label, almost as if they believe themselves to be better than the entire genre. Especially since the genre has expanded into so many different subgenres in the last decade that it wouldn't be as limiting as it once was. Perhaps all Yachty meant was he doesn't necessarily associate himself with many of the presumed rapper activities, such as glorifying drugs, face tats, criminal activity, among other negativity that he mentioned a couple weeks ago in a recording with Rolling Stone.
When I was younger and coming up to class, I had glorified drugs, face tats, everything under the book, you know what I'm saying? And what I learned as I got older is that I never had the fan base of certain peers because I didn't glorify negativity.
Or maybe the haters were right, and that Yachty had acquired an ego over the years, considering himself better than just being a rapper. It would make sense considering all his controversial statements lately, not to mention his most recent album, Let's Start Here, quite literally not being classified as hip-hop at all, rather psychedelic rock, reminiscent of the 60s and 70s.
Bruh.
And due to its surprisingly high reviews by the general public, he's just a bit extra confident in his abilities and cocky with his words. I mean, I would be too, if my best friend was Drake, the most successful artist in the world currently, even assisting in his executive production of his recent album For All the Dogs. He must feel like he's at the same level, at least artistically. And starting from the bottom as a kid uploading on SoundCloud less than a decade ago, definitely wasn't helping. Because I doubt many of us, even fans of Yachty, expected him to last this long in his career, with how potent his sound was. It was unique for sure, and allowed him to reach mainstream superstardom relatively early on in his career with hits like One Night, Broccoli, and I Spy. But at the time, it just seemed like a trendy sound that wouldn't stand the test of time, as Joe Budden and others argued quite publicly. This popular sound wasn't easy to create, and took years before the fame to craft. Yachty actually uploaded his first track to SoundCloud under his current stage name over 9 years ago, after dropping out of Alabama State University in his second semester to fully pursue his musical career, and then moved north from his hometown of Atlanta to New York City in order to network with other artists and streetwear influencers while he built up his initial following on Instagram. To survive and pay the bills, he worked at a local McDonald's. By 2015 though, he gained enough traction in the underground SoundCloud scene to begin collaborating with other budding artists like Playboi Carti, Nestle, Rich the Kid, and others. But later that year, he finally got his big break, and that one of his recent tracks called One Night was used in a viral comedy skit on YouTube by Sensei LaFox.
What are we? What the fuck she just say to me? Oh damn, you know what? She kinda ugly.
Soon after, fans flooded the rest of his discography on SoundCloud with support, and Yachty's future had forever changed. A few months later, in February of 2016, Yachty debuted his iconic red braided look to the world as a model in Kanye's Yeezy Season 3 fashion line at Madison Square Garden, and rode the wave of these early showcases by dropping Lil Boat the mixtape, premiering his playful and carefree approach to rap to the larger audience he attained from the last few months. The project featured his breakthrough track One Night that he recorded and released the previous year, and then followed up with a collaboration on Drum's track Broccoli that somehow exceeded the success of his last hit, peaking at number 5 on the Billboard Hot.
Bro, Vine at the time, bro, skits on YouTube at the time. Bro, 2016 was just a time for, like, nigga, the internet was just us. Like, it was just a time to be on the internet and just have fun, bro. 2K clubs. Bro, oh my god.
100. Another hit in his repertoire, giving him all the leverage he needed to sign a juicy record deal with Quality Control Music, Capitol, and Motown Records, who already had the Migos in their lineup. Now, it was time to reveal his true range. In May of 2017, Yachty released his debut studio album, Teenage Emotions, blending elements of trap, pop, and even alternative music into the new age hip-hop. And coming soon after his multiple mega hits, the fans' expectations were astronomically high, and right.
My inspiration is just flowing and coming.
Nigga making beats on ads. It's cool.
And rightfully so. However, the journey to success is rarely without its challenges. For upon the album's release, the project received mixed reviews. Potentially, his listeners weren't ready for such a rapid progression to different genres so early on. Or, it just wasn't executed well. Critics began questioning Yachty's staying power in the industry, claiming that this so-called bubblegum trap sound might be yet another fleeting trend in the fast-paced course of music. Nonetheless, Teenage Emotions still performed relatively well, selling 46,000 copies in its first week. Not bad for his debut, but far outpaced by some of his class, such as Lil Uzi Vert's Love is Rage 2, among others.
Bro, Love is Rage
Despite these
so
doubts,
good.
Yachty pressed on, however, with a slightly different approach. He still infused the melodic auto-tune vocals from his earlier work, but favored heavier tracks.
Bro, all we eat, low key. I mean, I eat other stuff, but mostly pizza's like one of my main meals in my house, bro.
Rap beats and more traditional rapping rather than experimenting with different genres on his subsequent albums, all in attempts to appease the fans. He was on a mission to prove he can actually rap, like all the critics were in doubt of. And it worked. Lil Boat 2 exceeded the sales of his first album, selling 64,000 copies in its first week with the help of Lil Baby, Offset, Gunna, and others. And because of this, Yachty built up the confidence to begin experimenting with less trap-centric sounds again on his next project, Nothing to Prove, such as melodic hooks and youthful instrumentals. Unfortunately, yet again, similar to Teenage Emotions, it failed to make as much of an impact, selling less than his debut album in its first week of only 40,000 copies. So already, we can start to see a trend of Yachty attempting to break down the barriers of the genre and paying for it dearly in the longevity of his career. As he entered the 2020s, he faced a pivotal moment. Should he stick with a safe course of making music just like everybody else in modern hip-hop to remain a relevant name? Or should he take the risk of pushing the boundaries and exploration of his true artistry? But it seemed no matter what option he chose, he still lacked the respect of publications since he didn't really fit all too cleanly into either of the categories. He was a rapper, yet didn't really fully limit himself to that label, and therefore, most fans didn't really pay attention to the lyrical abilities when he was rapping, and on the other hand, when he released more alternative sounding music, it wasn't appreciated, as it was judged under the lens of being a rapper. He was stuck in between. Perhaps his earlier music shot him in the foot, so to speak.
Yachty wanted, he came in as a rapper, but guess what? He's leaving out as an artist, bro. Like literally, and he's not even leaving. Like I'm saying, like he's now an artist, bro. Because Yachty has the ability to make any genre, bro. He proved that with Let's Start Here, bro. He literally said it. Let's start here. Let me tell y'all, let's start here, bro.
Speak. Because of how dumbed down it was, he said. But
they gotta add every freaking second, bro.
But with the right relationships, maybe he could change this perception. In 2020, despite his previous album titles, Lil Yachty had a lot to prove. So naturally, he started the year fresh with a track called Oprah's Bank Account, featuring the biggest rapper in the world, Drake, whom he had befriended along the way, as well as DaBaby, who was in a hot streak of his own. This song served as Lil Boat 3's lead single and stirred up a bit of controversy by dressing up as Oprah, a female, during the music video. This was a big deal in hip-hop considering its masculine nature, and yet another example of Yachty breaking away from the norm of the genre, except this time, aesthetically, later on even founding his own nail polish brand. But during this time, Yachty also recruited another influential ally whom he had already originally linked up with at the beginning of his career, Playboi Carti, although Carti was only present as a cameo in the split Whole Time music video rather than the actual recording. These cosigns were all Yachty needed to gain some momentum, despite Lil Boat 3 performing worse than any of his previous albums, selling only 30,000 copies in its first week, especially due to Playboi Carti's biggest album yet, Whole Lotta Red, allegedly being set to release soon that year, and a cult fan base ready to support any and all of his friends, given that they provide them with music. Later that year, Yachty followed up with the deluxe version of the album, Lil Boat 3.5, including fan favorite collaboration, Flex Up, featuring Future, and this time, Playboi Carti, that helped solidify his career for the time being.
Beautiful.
And during the next few coming years, Yachty frequently appeared with both.
Bro, me and Yachty got the same fist, bro. I got that same color. Hold on.
Drake and Playboi Carti.
I got that same color, but I need a 720p. I got that same color, bro. Like, what's that stuff called? Turban.
Party online, trolling each other in their respective comment sections, and even hosting a podcast with the Sixth God, discussing their relationship and plans for the future in depth. But due to Drake's status in the industry, in correlation with Yachty's recent derogatory comments about hip-hop, fans once again believe he may be developing an ego, thinking that he too is above the rest of his competition like Drake, although obviously without the same level of accolades. But Yachty didn't really care about the numbers or accolades, rather the quality of music. And perhaps that's why he's dealt with such a low level of respect from hip-hop thus far, and moreover, doesn't seem to mind the backlash, because he bases the success of an album on progressing his talents in music. And he made it abundantly clear with the release of his next couple of projects. For in 2021, Lil Yachty did the unthinkable. As a mainstream rapper, where artists are expected by not only their fans, but also their label to sell a certain amount of albums or streams, as he stated himself, you would expect Yachty to stick with his more pop sound to appease the masses. Instead, he reversed course to a very niche subgenre of rap in order to highlight a type of music and its respective artists that he actually liked, located in Flint, Michigan. He flew out to the area and recorded with many of the big names like V's, Rio the Young OG, Babyface Ray, and Baby Tron, who never would have received the same
Ray and Tron go stupid. And V's, I heard one of V's songs the other day, bro.
Same spotlight without him, even releasing a mixtape featuring them all called Michigan Boy Boat while documenting the entire process. As expected, the album's sales didn't reach the same level as his previous, only selling 16,000 copies its first week. But it served as yet another precedent for what was to come and his overall sentiments surrounding music. Make the music you actually like. Which leads us to the true revival of Yachty's career, by which, in October of 2022, one of Yachty's unfinished songs, Poland, would forever change the course of his career. Because normally, songs will leak and stay pretty unknown to the masses, coveted only by the enthusiasts within the artist's fanbase. However, due to how polarizing Yachty's chorus was with the pseudo-vibrato inflection that we mentioned earlier, the halfway recorded song went viral. It sounded so different from anything present in hip-hop that at first, Yachty considered it a throwaway to never release. He didn't even bother finishing it since he figured he don't.
Opera GX. Trying to play a game while you're watching your favorite YouTuber on the side, and then boom, your game starts lagging.
Stop with these ads.
Only get clowned for it. But sometimes, especially now in an age with endless copycats, as Yachty described himself, we need such music outside of the norm to push the genre forward. Exactly what he was trying to do since the inception of his rap career. The song was included in thousands of memes within the league's first week, and essentially forced Yachty to capitalize on the hype by rushing out a music video with Cole Bennett the very same month. Of course, shot in Poland. The song was an undeniable success, gaining millions of streams on all platforms with virtually no promotion. But more significant than just the numbers, fame, and money that came from the release was the door that just opened for Yachty, finally proving to the fans that he was more than just a rapper. He could drop music that was outside the regular scope of hip-hop, and fans would actually be receptive to it. And what's crazier is that he actually had an album up his sleeve that was much more different than even that of Poland, that he turned in long ago but just hadn't found the right time to release it. But maybe now was finally that time. Or at least, once he and his label could configure the perfect rollout with visuals, teasers, etc. in order to properly ease his fans into the new world. Unfortunately though, his plans were cut short once again. I guess all the hype from the success of Poland caused his fans to become impatient for the next drop, and on Christmas Day of 2022, the entire album leaked, at the time titled Sonic Ranch.
Sonic Ranch. And then he changed it and said, let's start here. Sonic Ranch is actually a good name for it though.
So once again, Yachty was forced into action, although this time, the internet was more forgiving, deciding as a whole not to listen to it before it was ready. A short month later, Yachty released the album, except with a new name, Let's Start Here, an accurate representation of a new beginning for his artistry and career. Because as mentioned, this album was different. In fact, it was nothing even close to hip-hop at all. It was psychedelic rock, taking influence from bands that flourished decades.
I think I was the only nigga who was bumping the Let's Start Here album before it actually came out. I was singing it all through school. Niggas said, who's that? I said, that's that little boat, man.
It's before in the 1960s. Following the album's release, Yachty said, there's a lot of kids who haven't heard any of my references. They don't know anything about Bon Iver or Pink Floyd or Black Sabbath or James Brown. I wanted to show people a different side of me and that I can do anything, most importantly. And Yachty definitely proved that to the world, because unexpectedly, hip-hop fans actually welcomed this new type of music from him with open arms, potentially being his most critically acclaimed album yet, despite selling half of his peak album success. And not even Yachty was all that confident in how it would be received. I was always kind of nervous to put out music, but now I'm on some other Yachty said. It was a lot of self-assessing and being very real about not being happy with where I was musically, knowing I'm better than where I am. And his nerves were justified too, because it seemed every time he attempted to break away from trap earlier on in his career, he lost support. But perhaps this time, after gaining a bit of credibility outside of the status quo from Poland, fans were more accepting. Coach K even chimed in on this phenomenon. He had been wanting to make this album from the first day we signed him, but you know, coming as a hip-hop artist, you have to play the game, highlighting the pushback many artists in hip-hop receive when trying something new. But obviously, Yachty was done caring about what everybody thought, especially considering his recent strong opinions against the current state of hip-hop. Which begs the question, finally with full context, was Lil Yachty justified in his stance on hip-hop, claiming it was in a terrible place, now that we truly understand the trials and tribulations he experienced throughout his entire career? Because he definitely paid his dues during the lows, while attempting to experiment with new sounds, but was only met with pushback to stick with the easy-selling trap route. Or does he still have no right to question the genre that gave him the platform in the first place? Many fans agree with the latter, that just because he released a psychedelic rock album and is chilling with Drake and Playboi Carti, that he's developed an ego. And let's not forget his own admission that he participated in the so-called downfall of the genre that he speaks about. But what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. But for now, I guess only time will tell regarding his greater impact on music rather than just his past.
Because when he told Bruce, you know you look up to me, little bro. he hold, bro. But yeah, man, if y'all like this video, bro, y'all let me know if y'all want some more. Send me some more videos. You know, hit me up on the IG. IG is the same name as my, you feel me? Same name as my channel. And yeah, give me some videos to react to, man.